in the heart of Zimbabwe, where the jacaranda trees paint the streets purple, lived a 15-year-old boy named Kuda. His family was one of the wealthiest in Harare, residing in a sprawling mansion with high walls that seemed to touch the sky. Kuda had everything a boy could dream of: the latest gadgets, a private tutor, and a horse of his own. But what he didn't have was freedom. His parents were strict, their world governed by status and appearances. They had one unbreakable rule: he was not to mix with anyone from outside their elite circle, especially not the poor. Kuda's days were a monotonous cycle of lessons, polo practice, and formal dinners. He longed for something more, a connection to the real world beyond his gilded cage. He would often climb to the highest balcony of his home, gazing out over the city. From there, he could see the vibrant, bustling streets of the nearby Mbari township. A world so different from his own, alive with sounds and colors he could only imagine. It felt like looking at another planet, so close and yet so impossibly far. One sweltering afternoon, driven by a rare spark of rebellion, Kuda decided he'd had enough. His driver was scheduled to take him to a tennis lesson, but Kuda had other plans. He told the driver he felt unwell and wanted to walk in the garden. Once the car was out of sight, he slipped out through a small, forgotten gate at the back of the estate. For the first time, he was on his own, the dusty, sun-baked streets of Harare stretching out before him. He walked aimlessly, his heart pounding with a mix of fear and exhilarating freedom. He soon found himself near the Mbari Musica, the largest market in the city. The air was thick with the scent of roasted maize, spices, and the sweet aroma of ripe mangoes. The sound was a symphony of shouting vendors, laughing children, and the rhythmic beat of a distant drum. It was chaotic, overwhelming, and utterly captivating. And then he saw her amidst the crowd. A girl was skillfully weaving intricate patterns into a basket. She had a radiant smile that could outshine the Zimbabwean sun and eyes that sparkled with a life and energy Kuda had never seen before. She was about his age. Her clothes were simple and worn, but she carried herself with a grace and confidence that was magnetic. Her name, he would soon learn, was Chipo, which means gift in the Shona language. Kuda was frozen, completely mesmerized. He had never seen anyone so beautiful, so real. Summoning a courage he didn't know he possessed, he walked over to her stall. He clumsily asked about her baskets, his voice barely a whisper. Chipo looked up, her smile widening as she saw his awkwardness. She patiently explained her craft, her voice like music. They talked for what felt like minutes but was actually hours, about everything and nothing. Kuda learned that Chipo lived with her grandmother and sold baskets to help support their small family. She dreamed of becoming a teacher. Kuda knew he had to see her again. He bought a small, beautifully woven bracelet, a pretext to have a reason to return. This marked the beginning of their secret meetings. Every week, Kuda would find an excuse to slip away. He'd trade his pristine polo shirts for simple t-shirts to blend in. Their meeting spot was a quiet corner of the market, hidden behind a stall selling colorful fabrics. With each secret rendezvous, their bond deepened. Chipo showed Kuda her world. She taught him the names of the local birds, how to haggle for the sweetest fruits, and the joy of dancing to the music that filled the streets. She introduced him to the warmth and generosity of her community, where people with very little shared everything. Kuda, in turn, shared his world with her through stories. He described the vast library in his house, the books he loved, and his own secret dream of becoming an architect to build beautiful, affordable homes for everyone. For Kuda, being with Chipo was like breathing fresh air after being locked in a stuffy room. She saw him not as the heir to a fortune, but simply as Kuda boy with a kind heart and a curious mind. And Kuda saw Chipo not as a poor girl from the market, but as the smartest, funniest, and most beautiful person he had ever met. They were falling in love, and their secret world felt like a perfect, happy bubble. But bubbles, by their nature, are fragile. One evening, Kuda's father's driver spotted him leaving the market, laughing with Chipo. The driver, loyal to his employer, reported what he saw. That night, Kuda's world came crashing down. His parents confronted him, their faces masks of fury and disappointment. They forbade him from ever seeing Chipo again, threatening to send him to a boarding school in another country. His phone was confiscated, and a guard was posted at the gate. Kuda was a prisoner once more, but this time the cage felt infinitely smaller and colder. Weeks turned into a month. Kuda was miserable, his heart aching for Chipo. He tried to send messages through a friendly gardener, but he didn't know if they ever reached her. He felt hopeless. Chipo, too, was heartbroken. She waited at their spot every day, but Kuda never came. She feared his parents had discovered their secret and that she would never see him again. But their love story was not destined to end there. One day, a national art and craft competition was announced. With a grand prize that included a significant sum of money and a scholarship, Chipo's grandmother encouraged her to enter. With a heavy heart, Chipo poured all her pain, her hope, and her love for Kuda into her work. She designed a magnificent tapestry, a masterpiece of weaving that told a story in vibrant threads, a story of two worlds, a high wall and a love that bloomed in a marketplace. The day of the competition arrived. The event was prestigious, attended by the city's elite, including Kuda's parents, who were patrons of the arts. They dragged a reluctant Kuda along, wanting to show him what high culture looked like. As they walked through the exhibition, Kuda's eyes fell upon a tapestry that made his heart stop. He recognized the story immediately. It was their story. The rich mansion, the bustling market, and two figures, a boy and a girl, reaching for each other across a divide. At that moment, the winner was announced. It was Chipo. As she walked onto the stage to accept her award, she locked eyes with Kuda across the crowded hall. The world seemed to melt away. Kuda's parents stared, stunned, first at the tapestry and then at the brilliant young artist. When Chipo gave her acceptance speech, she didn't talk about her technique or her inspiration in artistic terms. She spoke from the heart. She spoke of her grandmother's teachings, of community, and of her belief that talent and heart are not defined by wealth or status. She spoke of a friend who showed her that even those with everything can feel like they have nothing, and that true wealth is found in connection and kindness. Her words, filled with wisdom beyond her years, moved the entire audience, including Kuda's parents. They saw not a poor girl from the market, but an incredibly talented, articulate, and poised young woman. They saw the story she had woven, a story that wasn't an accusation, but a plea for understanding. For the first time, they looked at their son and saw the unhappiness in his eyes. That evening, a change began. Kuda's father approached him, not with anger, but with a quiet, thoughtful expression. He admitted he had been wrong. The next day, he drove Kuda to the market himself. There, they found Chippo packing up her stall. Kuda ran to her, and they embraced, the entire market seeming to cheer for them. Kuda's parents formally apologized to Chippo and her grandmother, inviting them for dinner not as a gesture of charity, but as a sign of respect. From that day on, the walls around Kuda's home didn't seem so high. His parents, inspired by Chippo, started a foundation to support young artists from underprivileged communities. Kuda and Chippo were finally free to be together, their love no longer a secret. They studied together, dreamed together, and planned a future where they would combine their worlds. Kuda designing beautiful homes and Chippo ensuring they were filled with learning, art, and community. Their love story, which began as a secret whisper in a busy market, became a beautiful song of unity and hope, proving that love is the most powerful force capable of weaving two different worlds into one incredible tapestry. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this story, please like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell for more tales from around the world. See you next time.